Hello and welcome to another video. Today I made a family tree for Alexandra of Denmark. If you don't know who that is, just read the British history book and we'll be starting. This is the whole family tree of Queen Alexandra of Denmark, wife and queen consort for King Edward VII of England from 1901 to 1910. This is her right over here, Queen Alexandra, born December 1st, 1844, and died November 20th, 1925, at the age of 80. November 20th, 1925 was also the day Robert F. Kennedy was born. Her parents were Christian the Ninth of Denmark and Louise of Hesse-Kassel. Christian was born April 8, 1818 and died January 29, 1906 at the age of 87. Louise was born September 7th, 1817 and died September 29th, 1898 at the age of 81. As you can see, she was a little bit older than Christian. Uh, Alexandra's paternal grandparents were Friedrich Wilhelm and Louise Caroline of Hesse-Kassel. Friedrich was born January 4th, 1785 and died February 17th, 1831 at the age of 46. And Louise was born September 28th, 1789 and died March 13th, 1867 at the age of 77. Alexandra's maternal grandparents were William of Hesse-Kassel and Charlotte of Denmark. William was born December 24th, 1787 and died September 5th, 1867 at the age of 79. Charlotte was born October 30th, 1789 and died March 28th, 1864 at the age of 74. William and Louise were either siblings or cousins, or maybe even second cousins, because they obviously came from the same Hesse-Kassel family. Um, William was born on Christmas Day, and so was his uh, grandson George I of Greece, but we're not at him yet. Alexandra had five siblings, one older and four younger. Her older brother was Frederick VIII of Denmark, and he was born June 3rd, 1843, and died May 14th, 1912, at the age of 68. And Alexandra's younger siblings were the before mentioned George I of Greece, Dagmar of Denmark, Tara of Denmark, and Valdemar of Denmark. Dagmar was, I think, later known as let me think. Maria Fyodorovna, I think. Yes, it was Maria Fyodorovna, and but her birth name was Dagmar of Denmark. But then later she married Tsar Alexander III of Russia when he wasn't even Tsar yet. So I mean Tsar. George was born December 24th, 1845, and died March 18th, 1913, at the age of 67. He was born on, like his grandfather, he was born on Christmas. Dagmar was born November 26th, 1847, and died October 13th, 1928, at the age of 80. Tyra was born September 29th, 1853, and died February 26th, 1933, at the age of 79. Valdemar was born October 27th, 1858, and died January 14th, 1939, at the age of 80. So, three of the siblings died at the age of 80. Alexandra married Edward VII. He wasn't king yet, but he was later known as Edward VII. First, he was known as Prince Albert Edward, and he was born November 9th, 1841, and died May 6th, 1910, at the age of 68. Together, Alexandra and Edward had 6 children. Albert Victor, Prince George, George Frederick, later known as George V after Edward VII died. There was also Louise, Victoria, Maud, and Alexander John. Albert was born January 8th, 1864, and died January 14th, 1892, 6 days after his 28th birthday. George was born June 3rd, 1865, and died January 20th, 1936, at the age of 70. Louise was born February 20th, 1867, and died January 4th, 1931, at the age of 63. Victoria was born July 6th, 1868, and died December 3rd, 1935, at the age of 67. Maud was born November 26th, 1869, and died November 20th, 1938, at the age of 68. And only 6 days before her 69th birthday. And finally, Alexander John, born April 6th, 1871, and died the next day, April 7th, 1871, at the age of 1 day. He only lived 24 hours, unfortunately. Albert Victor was never married, but he was engaged to Mary of Teck. Yes, the exact same Mary of Teck his brother George would marry. Albert was engaged to Mary, but like 6 weeks after the engagement, Albert died, and Mary was later engaged to Prince George, and together they had 6 children. Edward, George, Mary, Henry George, and this George isn't actually George. His actual name was Albert, but he used George as his name as king, George VI. Edward was actually Edward. He was later known as Edward VIII. George was actually Albert, later known as George VI. And there was also Mary, Henry, George, and John. Um, mm, 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 mm. Edward was married, but after Queen Alexandra died, and I'm only showing the her descendants that were born or that were married when she was still alive, to make it fair. So Edward wasn't married yet. George married Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, but did not have children yet. I'm sorry. Mary married Henry Lascelles and had two sons, George and Gerald. Henry and George weren't married yet, and John died when he was 13 in 1918 or 1919, I think. Um, Louise married Alexander Duff and had 3 children together: Alistair, Alexandra, and Maud. Alexandra married Arthur of Connaught and had a son, Alistair. And Maud married Charles Carnegie but did not have children yet. Alistair died when he was a child or a baby, maybe. Never mind. Um. So next was Victoria. Victoria was never married, and Maud married Karl of Denmark, later known as Haakon VII, and together they had a son, Alexander, but was later renamed Olaf. Alexander John was obviously never married because he was 1 day old when he died. He lived 24 hours, so that's not enough time. That's really not enough time to be married. Um, so yeah, that's the whole family tree of Alexandra of Denmark. Let me know in the comments whose family tree you'd like to see in the future, and I would be happy to read your comments. And I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. You can go to my channel and go to my posts and vote on whose ever family tree you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.